Good evening. What's up, Steffi? Rami's run. I love that name for a troll account. That's awesome. What's up, Sean? Jay? I'll give it a few minutes to let people jump in the live. I think there's a couple other lives going on as well, so it is all good. Oh snap! I got the hard stuff today, Nate. There's new Mountain Dew. It's pretty legit. I'm not a big soda drinker, but it's pretty good. What's up, Jay? What's up, Jane? Hope everybody had a wonderful week. What's up, Kodiak? Hey, we remember that deal, Nate, that if I made you cry during your interview, that I would drink. So, or if I didn't make you cry, that I would drink a shot. What's up, Kodak? Yes, remember our deal. I didn't say what I would drink, but I'll hold on my end of the deal, which I think is a losing battle because I don't think I'm going to get you to cry, but nonetheless. I think we got enough people in here right now. I don't want to keep up too much more of my guest time. Introduce him first. He just got his very first catch the other day, so my hat's off to him. His I thought somebody said something. He is NVCAP Southwest. Like I said, he just got his first catch under his belt, so we shall interview him. Blood is cool as ice. We shall see, sir. Yes, I doubt it, but anything can happen. I don't know what's going to happen first, bomb coming on or getting you to cry. I don't know what's going to happen first, but what's up, good sir?
How you doing?
I am
How
doing
you doing?
great,
Yeah,
man. How you been doing?
good, good. A little bit tired, but good.
A little bit tired. Do you work overnights or do you work during the day or?
Actually, I'm partially retired. That's what I was going to talk about a little bit too.
Okay,
Um, yeah, I'm actually. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
okay. Yeah, we'll go back into because I want people to get to know besides what they see on your catches and stuff like that, I want to see you, the person behind the catches and whatnot.
Yeah,
And first and foremost, congratulations to you on your first catch that you got the other day. How does it
appreciate it.
feel to get that under your belt?
It was cool. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to talk to him very much. Obviously, he ran, but it was interesting. And of course, he ghosted us the night before. And thankfully, my youngest daughter, she's 24, and she's only 4 foot 9.5, so she's very short, and she has shorter hair, so she can dress up like a boy or a girl and
Mm-hmm.
sound like both if she wants. So thankfully, she did a really good job. But this guy didn't even make it to the spot where he was supposed to meet her the next day, and he was creeping around first the lingerie area, then he went around the toddlers area, and literally he was creeping around that area. Unfortunately, the live was it wasn't very good, but we have a professional, my cameraman, seven,
Mm-hmm.
1080p. We recorded him creeping around and texting, and we called him to verify it. And yeah, he knew he was in trouble.
So he was creeping around the infant department of all departments.
Yes. And the managers, and there's a couple managers and an employee outside. They all pretty much knew what we were doing, and everybody was cool with it. They were like, if we can help, let us know, type. And so
Yeah. That's cool that you were in a good Walmart where the managers were legit. They weren't like Karens trying to kick you out or anything like that. You've seen other catchers where they kick them out or they cause a scene.
yes, we've had when we almost had a catch, of course, last week, and we was at a Walmart on that one, and we walked in, and with all of our equipment and gimbals and stuff. and battery packs and cords hanging off of us, and it's like they knew.
Yeah.
And the same with another location, a fast food restaurant that we were supposed to get in that night before. Um, I went to go make sure my youngest daughter was okay, if she needed anything to drink, if she needed a drag off my e-cigarette to calm her nerves,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
she needed. It wasn't cold really that night. It was 70 that day, but you know, um, but we just he ghosted us, and there's nothing we could do about it. We waited as long as we could, but we got some footage from that's on the 1080p that we're gonna add a little bit of something that wasn't shown. And the day after, of course, when we did get him, there's a lot more that people will see, his face, and know more. What we got, we're getting more information about him.
Okay. So when are you planning to premiere that?
I don't know because Seven can edit a little bit. I can't at all. I'm not
Okay.
tech savvy at all. Hi, chat, by the way. Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
But
Chat's in here supporting you, brother.
I appreciate it.
Can you read the comments?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it my laptop here as well, so that's why I just kind of wanted to say a broad hello for now. Um, where was I?
We're talking about that you don't have an editor.
Yeah. However, my oldest daughter, Anna, which I was hoping if I could plug her link,
Go
tonight.
ahead.
I don't.
Um,
I'm not modded. I don't
I
think
should have
so.
modded you. That's my apologies. I should have modded you. Um,
Oh,
give me 1 second. Let me see if I can't do it from here.
okay.
Give me 1 second.
Alrighty. And but
I
yeah,
may not. Oh man. I'm gonna try. I've never actually tried from. I can't. I don't think you could do it from StreamYard, but
yeah. If you can't, that's okay. I know some people in here that knows my
what I
daughter's
can do if
channel. They could probably.
what I could do is after our interview, if you want to send me the link,
Okay.
I'll go ahead and post it underneath the comment section, and people could subscribe. It's
Okay.
easier that way. And then I'll mod you afterwards too.
Oh,
I
okay.
I meant to. I just forgot about it.
I appreciate
No problem, man.
it. But it was good to know we finally at least had a meet, and we also have footage of him driving around and walking, before he went live and everything. And I found out during that time we didn't know it because we were in the middle, we were live and everything. There was an emergency in our
Mhm.
family, so we had a couple other people. I still have them lined up, but we had to stop because somebody was in the hospital, and then there was a power outage.
Wow.
There was cell phone interference with T-Mobile and Verizon, so I think that
Yep.
affected the live feed as well. But we, like I said, we have a good camera that's he's got two of them, and he chose a 1080p for that. So when we get it together, and if it doesn't hinder the investigation, we're going to put it up. If
Yeah.
the cops or the judge or the DA or whoever says no, take the live, don't put anything back up until everything's over with, we have to do what law enforcement says, obviously, or the judge or DA.
Yeah, I am a Verizon customer, so I was one of the people that was pissed off on Monday when that stuff started going down. Like
Yeah.
I lost service. Feel like I was living in the '90s for a change.
I my first cell phone was, I think, 99. I don't know what, I think it was Sprint, and then
Okay.
Sprint turned into uh, eventually into Quest, I think, or something like that. No, I went to Sprint and then went to Quest, and that turned into Verizon, I believe. And I
Okay.
had Verizon for years,
Uh-huh.
but we were living at that time. We were out living in the Navajo Nation. We were missionaries at the time, and my kids were young and growing up, and and we had it was expensive.
Yeah.
Verizon was. And then one of my cousins was working for corporate T-Mobile, and that's why we went ahead and went to T-Mobile. And I've been there with T-Mobile ever since, but I'm kind of considering going back to Verizon.
Yeah, I had T-Mobile for years. I've had no problems with them. But when I moved down here, I just kept getting drop calls and stuff like that. So I switched to Verizon. But my very first phone was the old Nokia from Cricket. If anybody remembers
I
what
had one of
Cricket
those.
Wireless, that was my very first when I moved out on my own like 20 years ago. I had the blue Nokia phone that you
Yeah.
could play Snake on. That was my first phone.
That I had cricket for a while, and I did have I we had the Nokias.
Uh-huh.
For that. The Breaking Bad burner phones, Breaking Bad was, of course, filmed here and everything. And for those who know what the show is, but yeah, you can't really find. I don't think you can even find a flip phone anymore, or those old
You
Nokias.
can. It's their old like prepaid phones, like
Oh, okay,
straight talk and stuff like that. I had
yeah.
a flip phone. I had a Razor phone too, Nate. That was like my second or third phone. I had the black Razor. No,
Oh,
it was a gray Razor. My bad. But yeah, it makes me feel old now thinking about it. But
I feel really old, to be honest with you. I really do. I was a '70s baby, so '80s was you know was my life. Early '90s, and I did it. And the thing about, if you want me to start, I guess I can start with that. Is I was from the Midwest. That's where I was born. But I was at about 11. We moved to. I'm a first generation tech brat. So
uh,
my father went back to college in his late 30s, and we moved to. He had opportunities from NASA and all these places, and we ended up in Dallas, Texas. He worked for TI there, Texas Instruments. So I really grew up there a lot. Like most of my school years and everything, it was Dallas, Texas, and
uh,
we had family in Houston, Katy, Beaumont, Groves, all the way down to Corpus. So we kind of were, we were all over the state, and I consider Texas my home. I really do. Even though I've lived in New Mexico now, the longest I've ever lived anywhere in my life, I still consider Texas my home. So we moved there, and of course I got into the heavy metal scene. Pantera was playing the clubs, we were playing the clubs and playing the birthday parties, and Pantera was playing the birthday parties. It was very competitive, like the Sunset Strip it was in LA, or the 6th Street in Austin.
uh,
And so we had some record contracts that were pretty nasty. It's just a whole nasty business. The music industry is a nasty business. And we got to have a few little things. We got to open up for Pantera, for and even after I left the band, they got to play for a few other people too. They got to go to Vince Neil from Motley Crue was solo at that time. This is early '90s, I believe. Yeah, and Don Dokken was solo, and
uh,
yeah, there was a lot of fun. Um, I kind of gave up for a while with the guitar. I didn't really give up with the guitar, but I gave up kind of with bands for a while. Um,
what
and
made you
I'm
give up?
what's that?
What made you give up?
No, I didn't give up quite yet, but there was a period that I was just, when you get to your mid-teens, you want to party. I'll
Uh-huh.
be honest with you, and I am a Christian, I'm a born again Christian, okay, but I have got away from God many times, obviously. But I was a very bad child growing up. I was always sneaking out, painting the town red, get into trouble. And yes, I have a few misdemeanors and traffic violations, no felonies, thank goodness. But yeah, that was my time for a little while, and then I got serious again. Then we moved to Minneapolis, and I got a surprise from Prince, the artist known as
Formerly
Prince,
known as Prince?
the
D
Prince,
Prince? D Prince?
and
Okay.
the band Soul Asylum and the drummer from Doc and Mick Brown came into our studio and jammed with us for about a half hour. And I was getting that fever, that taste again. It's like I really think we can make it.
Uh-huh.
Well, at that point, I was working at a place called Laser Master in Eden Prairie, which is a suburb, literally almost to downtown Minneapolis, and we worked with computer technology and stuff, research and development and all that, jazz. And this, you may have heard of him. His name was Justin Lynch. He was a world champion skateboarder. and he had to retire. At that time, he was 24, and I was probably, I want to say 19, I think. Um, and we worked there together, and we both had a passion for music, for
Uh-huh.
rock, hard rock, heavy metal music. He could sing. I never could sing. I could imitate a little bit of Bon Scott and Brian Johnson, AC/DC. I used to, but that's it. I'm not a singer. He could sing, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but he could play the guitar, but he couldn't do the leads like I could do. I basically did all the instrumentals, the drums. I did the bass, the rhythm, the backup guitar, the lead guitar, and a few keyboards on some of the songs. And basically, he overdubbed everything with singing. And we actually put a really good song together. And because of his history with being a professional world champion skateboarder,
Uh-huh.
um, and a little bit of things that I knew and people that I knew, um, we were hoping to get another shot at a record contract, and we had to, look around for other band members. Well, um, he didn't show up for work one day, and I went to his apartment, and they said he had left with all my equipment, and so that was literally a second time I lost about $10,000 worth of equipment.
Damn.
um, so there was that, and then we moved to Albuquerque in '96, and I tried one more time with the band here, and I won't even say the name honestly. Um, I know some are probably going to be on here because I don't want any troubles because there's a lot of feuds that goes on, but the last, we got to open up for Queensryche in '97 before Chris DeGarmo left the band and went to be with Jerry Cantrell with Alice in Chains. That was really cool, but that was really it. The last thing I got, but I got into videography and filming concerts, so I got to do that a lot um, professionally for a while, and
Uh-huh.
then but not so recently. But I'll end with this with the music thing. Is the last thing I did was I got to be Frank Minali, the original member from Quiet Riot, his drum tech when they were here. Then he passed away a year later from cancer. But that was the last thing I got to do, and that was 2016, I believe.
Do you still play guitar?
I do. I have it over here. I thought about maybe doing something on YouTube, but I guess I just haven't got the guts to do it. I did some Facebook stuff a while back, like
Yeah.
Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue. I would show people how to do Dimebag Darrell squeals on the guitar from Pantera, or just little tutorials on pick harmonics like Randy Rhoads and finger tapping by Eddie Van Halen. I was just kind of maybe just teach. I don't know, just kind of doing my own thing, or I would go into play the entire song of something and just kind of do it for fun and to help teach others.
So did you find out firsthand how cutthroat the music business is? Like people that stab you in the back and not even think twice.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't know if I should. I'll be careful how I word this, but those that are watching or watch this later, let me tell you something. The music industry back then, especially, was ran by the mafia. Above the mafia was called the Illuminati. And yes, it's real. And it's very dangerous. I have a lot of relatives that were professional baseball players for the Red Sox. I had it written down: the Red Sox, the California Angels, and the White Sox. And that was my great uncle, my second cousin, and then I had two Indy 500 champions in my family too. So it's kind of cool, but they talk about the same issues with in the business in general because it's all about money, 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 money.
Uh-huh.
How much money are we going to make off these people? If it doesn't go gold, if it doesn't go platinum, or the Indy 500 doesn't win, it's the movie industry as well. And I did a commercial for MTV in the early '90s, and people are going to laugh, but I don't know if I should say this, but yeah,
Say
believe
it,
it or
bro.
not, at 16 years old, I was a child model for John Robert Powers for just a very short period of time. Believe it or not,
John Robert Powers.
John
Explain who
Robert.
that.
Um, yeah,
Who is that?
they were a huge modeling agency in the 80s and 90s. Like they
Okay.
had like Cyndi Lauper and not Cyndi Lauper, Cindy Crawford. I can't remember all the supermodel names and actors and actresses, but I don't know. I did the commercial, and because of the commercial, I got the call. But me and my friend actually did. I was supposed to do an M&M commercial, okay, and then he actually went through and he did like a Sears catalog ad. That's how long ago it was. Socks and boxers or something, and he got like 10 grand. They offered me 25 grand for the M&M commercial, and they wanted me to do this portfolio thing. And I honestly, I just didn't like. I just didn't want to do it.
Hmm.
I wanted to play guitar. So, and one more thing, just real briefly, backtracking a little bit in Dallas, I had my third band was called Colorblind because we had different races. We wanted to break that stigma because rap was coming through at the time, and there was this battle between metal and rap, you know.
Hmm.
So we literally played all three. We played R&B, rap, and heavy metal or hard rock, and we had two African Americans. We had a Mexican American, myself, another gentleman who was Italian. So we called ourselves colorblind. We got the privilege to play the Dallas block party in front of thousands of people. And I was a lead guitarist and I was new at the lead guitar. And we were playing a cover song that Poison had done. When I hear the music, let it play, Lord, let it play, heavy hard rock
Yeah, yeah.
style. And I was doing the solo. I got halfway through the solo and I lost my place on the scale out of nerves. And I stopped in the middle of it and walked backstage, got a Colt 45 malt liquor, slammed it. I don't drink now, but I slammed it. And then everybody, my parents at the time, I was a teenager, my friends and other people said, they think it's part of the show. Don't worry, go back out there. I was like, I'm not going back. They said, no, they think it's part of the show. I go, okay. So I walk out and they start screaming and I finish the solo. And then there's these line of kids that want my autograph thinking if I'm going to become famous. That was pretty cool. And we actually got close with that one, with that band to getting signed
Yeah.
too.
How did it feel to have people just come up and want to sign your autograph? Did that feel awkward? Like to me, it feel
Yeah.
awkward as hell.
For
And
me,
people,
it felt awkward.
yeah,
Some people like it. But I just felt awkward, to be honest with you. But I
yeah.
smiled and did it. But it was cool, to see the kids that they were rocking out. We even had a little mosh pit going. It wasn't bad, but there was some surfing in the crowd, and it was fun. It was a really cool experience.
So I see you wearing a Kiss hat and looks like an
Oh
ACDC.
yeah,
ACDC. Okay,
my
who's your
yeah.
favorite band? All time favorite band.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I would. It's so close between ACDC and Guns N' Roses. Pantera, Motley Crue, Kiss. I don't know. That's the top five. Megadeth.
It looks like you sound like you're into 80s hair bands, brother. I love music, period, but I love the 80s jump, like the Motley Crue, GNR,
Yes, sir.
Aerosmith, GNR. Welcome to the Jungle is probably one of my favorite songs. Sweet Child of Mine is one of my favorites.
Night Train.
Huh?
Night Train's my
Night
favorite song.
Train,
Jack
Motley
Roses
Crue.
and
Um,
Estranged.
I like
November
the
Rain.
Eagles. I like Eagles, Nate, but I'm more. I like more of the heavy stuff, more like the Motley Crue. I'm trying to think. AC/DC, Metallica. Before
Yeah.
people say they went corporate when they really
Yes.
didn't sell out. But anyways, that's another topic for another day. But
Yes, Dream Plural. I agree. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I had to agree with Dream. In fact, I've got all the Eagles albums on CD, of course, but I'm just missing two vinyls, which is Desperado and Out of Eden. It's the only two vinyls I'm missing for the Eagles, my Eagles vinyl collection. Definitely one of the yeah, they are one of the best bands, if not technically they are the best band in the world because they beat Thriller with their record sales for their greatest hits.
which was
So,
huge at the time. People don't
oh
know
yeah,
how big Thriller was back in the 80s with Michael
it,
Jackson.
we had people that literally turned their houses into a Michael Jackson memorabilia store. And I remember as a child, when Thriller came out, I was probably 8, and
Uh-huh.
I just remember me and my aunt, who was only 5 years older than me, and my sister, who was 5 years older than me, going every day to get a pin, a button, or whatever that Michael Jackson. And then I got into the breakdancing thing for a while because I got into the Beastie Boys and DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince and Run DMC. I was in that rap a little bit, but
Uh-huh.
I was so, and I appreciate a lot of the rap in the 90s, to be honest with you, late 80s to mid 90s, but I'm really more of a metalhead. And I love some old country like Johnny Cash or Willie Nelson.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Willie Nelson showed up at my uncle's funeral in California, which was we didn't know he was friends with him. And then ironically later on the tour bus that took my old band to LA was driven by Willie Nelson's brother, and that it had just been used by the band Slayer.
Uh-huh.
String of luck.
Yeah. So let's venture out of the music scene. What did you do after that? After you stopped doing the music?
Well, I was approached to be in a movie, a remake of Sing for Your Supper when I moved to Albuquerque. It was in 1996. I was working at Intel at the time. My father was working at Intel at the time as well. And um, because there's no way I could tell you everything, but because of my life story, just at that time, they wanted to do a book and then do a movie, and they thought I would be a good part in the remake of Sing for Your Supper, the 1996 whatever version.
Uh-huh.
Again, this dude who I thought was cool, very elderly man, and he was very successful in the movie industry. Well, him and his wife invited me for dinner and all that stuff to talk about, and they literally like told me you're going to get a 7-figure check. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to be going from Intel to this, you know.
Uh-huh.
But he was a pervert, and no, he didn't touch me. I didn't let him. I punched him, but yeah,
He
he
was a
was a
pedophile?
Him and his wife tried to get me. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say pedophile. I wasn't underage, but I was only, I think, 19, 20. I was young. They were probably in their 60s, very wealthy, very
Yeah.
wealthy. And they wanted me to go have a threesome with them. I was like, ooh, I was gone and I never looked back.
That's crazy. I watched that special on Bill Cosby on
Oh,
Peacock. If you guys have not seen it, you should check it out. Of all the women that he would have like backstage on his show, like
mm-hmm,
normally his door would be open during like casting and stuff like that, but he would have females like come in, and during that time when he had the females come in, he would shut the door, and that's where he would try to
yeah,
assault several of them. It's a pretty good biography. You guys want to check it out. This just describes all the stuff that he did behind the scenes
yeah,
and what led to his downfall. But it's pretty sickening to know what he did way back in the day. Even
yeah,
some of the stuff that he did on a show, like it gave indication of what he did
mm-hmm,
behind the scenes. It's pretty
yeah.
good biography.
We have unfortunately, we have Jeffrey Epstein's statue in downtown Albuquerque still. The mansion in the East Mountains over here, I did see that it was sold or it was going to be demolished or something, but yet the statue, to the best of my knowledge, is still standing in downtown Albuquerque. So, aside from a petition in New Mexico, luring of a child is only a misdemeanor in New Mexico. You can go to EYLP. He did a video on that. I think it was a couple weeks back. PNM was also in there. And when he was showing our local news, we're trying to get a petition done to get the laws changed on that. But yeah, I'll get into that a little bit later too. But uh, it's I just don't understand how they can get by with luring a child in only a misdemeanor.
Hmm. That's crazy. That's
It's
like a
sick.
slap on the wrist. People that And we go through that. I mean, Cupcake, she talked about like that. People that can do drugs and stuff like that, like have weed on them, they get a lot more than that, a lot more than lowering your mind, which is it's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. It is. Um, well, I'll fast forward a little bit. I got a taste. I was started working in security at Intel. That's what I was doing there at the time, and I met some people. You know, made some friends, and this, that, and the third. And I saw somebody, or somebody approached me. I was working overtime at a grocery store, being a security guard. I was young, and he was armed to the teeth. I mean, he had everything. I had nothing. I didn't have a radio. I had a radio. I think that was probably it. Freaking
Uh-huh.
toy, the flashlight hanging. I was 19, 20, something like that. And I was just doing my thing with Pinkerton at the time. And this dude walks up. I thought he was a deputy sheriff. And he said, "Hey, you want to make some better money and be armed?" And I was like, and work along with APD on some things, and where they contract to federal authorities like FBI, United States Marshals. They contract them out. We go through an actual academy. So I went through that, passed it obviously, and yeah, I got to, and that's really where I learned a lot of stuff. So I wanted to be a police officer, and that's what started that. So I finally got my first job at the county detention center here, and because every state's different. Now here, you're actually a peace officer, and I have my certificates. You're sworn in as a peace officer here, and so we had limited peace officer powers. Most of it was inside the facility or during a manhunt, or if we saw a felony in front of us off duty, we could arrest. But
uh-huh.
the local police, or the county sheriff's department, even though we were deputies, we were kind of lower on the totem pole, I guess. But I worked there twice, actually. I'm going to come back to that because it was later on that something happened to me. But I went to the prison in Santa Fe, the juvenile prison. I worked there I got married around that time as well, who is now my ex-wife. We're still best friends, so everybody don't have to worry about asking me questions on that. We are literally like best friends still. But anyways, I worked there for, I want to say, a year and a half, 2 years, and then I went to the academy for the Bernalillo County, which is now MDC, and I just kind of wanted to get out of it. Um,
Uh-huh.
well, actually, I just told my now ex-wife and my kids my family a couple years ago, I was given a choice, because I had a bus that was very, very big, and I was given a choice to either choose. I can't even say it on YouTube. I was given a choice of something by the FBI, and I chose, because somebody was following us all the time. I
Watching you.
chose to take stalking. Yes, I
Yeah.
had a hit on me. Yeah, so we moved to back to the Midwest, and I was getting on at the sheriff's department there. But at that current time, I was hired as an undercover. I was hired by McDonald's, and I was posed as an assistant manager, but paid a regional manager's salary to find out who was robbing the owner. So he would put me from store to store to store. Once I found out who the suspect was working as a McDonald's manager, he didn't even fire her because she went to the same church that he went to. And I'm a Christian, but I'm not much
Yeah.
for organized religion. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm not much for organized religion, but I am a born again Christian. And I don't want to get into all that. But anyways, I was still making decent money for my age, so they just transferred me there, and I applied for the sheriff's department. And because it was a smaller town, I had to wait. Well, after 3 years or so, the waiting was done, and we came back, and everything was good. And I went back for more. Back to I don't know. My whole life, I love adrenaline rushes. I love danger. Even though I never liked
Yeah.
anything that gave me that stimulating, like as far as like, when I experimented with things growing up, like alcohol and drugs and stuff. I didn't like the stimulating stuff, but I liked the adrenaline rush. So I've always liked dangerous jobs.
Yeah.
So I went back, and then a long story short is they had me work a double shift, and I was working in one of the quad control rooms, which is a federal pod unit, and the U.S. Marshals wanted to do a double count in a raid. And so a long story short is I was in the quad control room, and I had a moment to finally use the commode, and I drank so much coffee it was going right through me, so I needed to take a leak, and I fell down the stairs. My hands didn't reach the ground before my right kneecap did,
Mm.
and it busted it. So a long story short, I had to sue the county, and I won, because they were not treating me well.
Then you made a
For
lot of money, didn't you? I
Yep,
imagine so.
they paid for I'm for life. They're responsible for my knee for life. So that was it. That was my that was my law enforcement experience. And yes, I was in law enforcement, but I was never a beat officer. And that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a patrol officer and eventually become a detective. And so a lot of my friends have done that. And one of my friends is the mayor here as well in this suburb. So I didn't get a chance to continue on with that. So I just went back to college and got my degree in biblical studies, and
Okay.
got right with God really good for a while, and got ordained and licensed. And we went to the Navajo Nation for 6 years up here in the Four Corners. We ran a church, and then my son in 2010 died. He was going to graduate that year. He was 17. And even though he was my stepson, he's still I've raised him since, I helped raise him since he was a baby, a
Hmm.
toddler. And I realized I couldn't, do it anymore. So it took me 6 months to find a replacement. I resigned, and then I found a replacement in Oahu, Hawaii. And he came over and that family came over, and they replaced us on the missions field because I knew I just couldn't do it no more.
Yeah.
If I can't be spiritual to myself or to my family, how can I be, you know, spiritual to
You,
the flock, the
your
church?
family comes first.
Exactly. But a long story short, fast forwarding, I guess, to a couple years ago, it took a toll. It really did. And then my sister-in-law was murdered. And then a year later, the father of their child, who they were going to get married, he got murdered
Wow.
in Albuquerque. Um, and I can't even talk about some of the other stuff, but it really affected us. And I guess you could say after about 18 years of being married, give or take, 20 years being together, it took a toll on us all,
Yeah.
a lot of things. And we just separated, and we went to Christian counseling and stuff, just to see if marriage counseling, and so we just took a break from each other, and we just decided 4 months later that was it, and we were going to be friends. And we are actually probably better friends now than the last few years we were together. So
Hmm.
I've given this out in the open before, so I have no problem talking about that. But that's so we've been divorced for a few years now, but we're great friends still, and
Yeah.
it's good because we have 4 grandkids, too. So
So I mean, that's awful to hear, though. My condolences to you. You've lost not only one loved one, but several due to someone being murdered. Like, how did you cope with it? Like, did you rely on God? Did you rely on your faith? Did you drift away, or how did you manage during that time?
me personally, I didn't blame God, of course. Okay. However, um, with everything that happened, I guess you could say I became desensitized
Hmm.
for a while. Um, sometimes it didn't hit me that hard until like a year later or a certain moment in time or or a holiday or remembering something, taking my son out fishing and hunting for the first time and teaching him how to drive, all that, those memories. And then with my sister-in-law, she was she was actually locally, she was famous. She was a good dancer and everything. She was always in the parades for the fiestas they have here and stuff. And then she got involved in some stuff, and it eventually, even though she was recovering, this individual, uh, they only recognized her by her tattoo. Let's just put it that way.
Mm.
And he only got 6 years, and he's already out, by the way. So, and
He's out 6 years. Like, what happened? What made him get released that soon?
I don't know. He first degree murder. He's supposed to get
Yeah,
25 to
yeah,
life first degree
exactly. That's fucked up.
plea
I'm
bargain.
sorry. I'm sorry that you've had to go through that. Nobody should lose somebody to murder, much less a few people or several others, and then to find out they were released after 6 years. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's a we gotta fix the system somehow. um,
Exactly.
I don't want to talk about that anymore because
You're fine. You're fine, man. I want you
but
to feel as comfortable as possible, man. I understand that's a touching subject, even still. Um,
yeah,
like I said,
but
my prayers are to you and your family. Like it's tough, man.
yeah, I
So we
appreciate
can
it.
definitely change the subject, whatever you want, man.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about so I can't say anything because it's not my story to tell.
Hmm.
I will say this: there was a lot of things that had happened, okay, where they are now in prison for what they have done. I'll leave it at that. Please use your imagination. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing because it was
Hmm.
such a bad thing that happened to a lot of people around me. Um, so one day I was looking for old shows because we used to love watching What Would You Do and To Catch a Predator. Back in the early 2000s, I think is when that all started, and Fear Factor with Joe Rogan.
Yes.
Reality shows were kind of new. The internet was pretty new, and so I was just bored. I was watching all the old shows after work one night, and I clicked on something, and I had it on autoplay, and it went to Pop Squad. And at first I thought, oh, is this like one of those skits, like they're pretending to be Chris Hansen? And of course, I found out what it was, and I have to say, I really liked Pop Squad, and then I learned about Anxiety War, and then I learned about PP Mass, New York Creep, Spotlight, and at the time PP New Jersey. And then one day PP New Jersey was crying, throwing a fit, and he kept saying Alex, and people were like, "Who's Alex? Who's Alex?" So
Hmm.
I finally found out who Alex was, and I basically took his team and I ditched the Raw thing, and I saw a lot of potential in Alex. And I think after around the EDP thing is when I said he's the goat, and I also saw a lot in Ryan that I think a lot of people may have not have seen that I
Hmm.
did. And I saw the intelligence and the drive that Ryan has. So when I announced I was going to be a catcher, and I've been thinking about it for a couple years. I've been in the community. I didn't chat, I don't think, for the first year. I
Yeah.
just watched. And I was learning, I was curious, and this, that, and the other. And I wanted that rush I used to get, back when I was younger and working certain jobs and stuff. So, and I wanted to do something because it needs to be done. And it's something that's very close to not only my heart, but my family's and my loved ones around me heart. They're very happy about what we're doing because it needs to be done. And so yeah, I just announced it, and I didn't even say the names, but I said if they're if somebody wants to ask me to join their organization, their group, it would only be 2 people, and I won't ask. But if they ask me, I'm going to accept. And I
Yeah.
didn't say the names, but it was predator poachers or NVCAP. And because I have a lot of
Ryan's in the
respect.
chat.
Hey Ryan, hey buddy, thank you Ryan for everything. And I'm going to get to you a little bit, but I already had a lot of respect for Alex and for Jesus and Pablo and Fredo and Dream Floral, and just the list goes on. Um, I have a lot. I'm a big fan of Courtney and Chris, Courtney Elizabeth Smith and cameraman Chris, PP Mass, TC Units. I support just about every catcher, to be honest with you. I don't support Raw. I support if he gets somebody exposed. I support the him doing that, but I don't support him. And I'll just leave it at that. There's probably one other one that I won't really talk about too much, but I have more respect for him by probably a little bit more than I do Raw. I won't say the
Uh,
full name.
yeah, we don't have to talk about him either. That's fine. He's
Yeah,
Voldemort. He's Voldemort in my stream. So
yeah. But
hate to support you as well.
yeah. So I try to support every catcher. Honestly, I really do. Just I just can't watch that train wreck. But
So did Ryan reach out to you, or how did that conversation start?
well, well, unfortunately, people that I knew through the chats and stuff were offered me to come on like their panels or whatever it was, like this. And I was like, okay. And unfortunately, I did meet some people who we now know are maybe not the good people we thought they were. But
Yeah.
anyway, I just started learning, and people, and Variety TV. I want to thank him too. He loaned me his StreamYard services, or he gave me the free. I don't know what it's called, but he showed me at least
Yeah.
how to use StreamYards, I guess. And so I appreciate that. And then one day I was on. I don't know what stream I was on, but I think Ryan was on. Yeah, Ryan came on and he had asked, "You want to be part of NVCAP?" And I told him right then. I said yes. I mean, because I already knew if
Yeah.
Alex asked me or if Ryan had asked me, I was going to say yes and change it and add the name to. So that's when that started. So we kind of thought of the name, because most of my YouTube is just mostly concert footage and just political weird stuff. I don't know I wouldn't know what I was doing. I'm just trying something. But
That's good that you post your other passions though. Like it doesn't have to necessarily be around predator catching. That's what I've been gaining over the past couple months. Like I have other passions that I'm passionate about, or
yeah,
other things that I like. It's not revolved around predator catching. So it's good that you have different stuff on there, man. And
yeah,
continue to do that. Like I said, follow what your heart is, or what's
mhm,
in your heart, man. Um, continue to do what you want to do, man.
yeah, for sure,
Subconscious. So
for sure.
after
Constantine,
you
hi
and
everybody.
Ryan, after you and Ryan had that conversation, you changed your name to PP, or not PP, but NVCAP Southwest.
Hmm.
What went from there? Just um,
Honestly, here's what happened. To be completely honest, is I had already been. I was already going to do this. I just didn't know when I was going to do it. And there was, I think that was still the time that my son-in-law and I were in the 18-wheeler was for Swift, doing mostly local stuff, and we were enjoying that and everything. And it gave us time, my son-in-law gave us good quality, time together as well, going out on the shifts. And I was like thinking about it, and I had, a savings account and da 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 da. And so I started buying things like a GoPro and I started studying some of the decoys that have the channels and stuff. And then I just decided, okay, I'm going to start, but I didn't realize how difficult it really is, especially thankfully I've had people, like Ryan, especially Ryan, help me a lot with a lot of things. And I'm maybe 47 this year, even though it's like my generation or my father's generation, my mother and father's invented the technology. But yeah, a lot of us that are my age, not everybody, but a lot of us and older, we don't understand the technology of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids, they're all in their 20s and they know more than I do, and they show me, and it's kind of funny, but it's cool at the same time. But yeah, I got a lot of help um, from a lot of people, and then it wasn't like we weren't trying. But Ryan and I both had a plan too, and it had, and I also, let everybody know I didn't want to do a 501c3, and I'm not against anybody who does the nonprofit. It's just me personally, because of my experience with it as a missionary. I don't like the 501c3, so I
Yeah.
kind of like DAP's idea, Dads Against Predators idea, with the media station. So I said, I kind of want to do like I was really liking the panel talks and stuff like that, and maybe even a future podcast or something. And so I started doing that to kind of put myself out there, like, hey, I'm going to be doing it, doing catches. And so I kind of promoted myself with the help of some other people. And then finally, after trying and trying and decoying and with other people's help, and I appreciate all the support, we finally got our first catch. You have to forgive me what day it was. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. NVCAP, Ryan, you could probably tell me, or Tracy or somebody, or John Davis could probably tell me. It was a couple nights ago, I believe. And even though I didn't get to talk to him very much because he ran,
Yeah.
we did and the video, the live feed is up. It's not very good. The quality was bad because of what was going on that day, but do have a professional recording and a lot more footage. But we got to get it edited, and then we got to see if the police tell us it's okay to put it up, and they may tell us to take everything down until there's a trial. I don't know,
Yeah.
but we will have a professional with a lot more footage of that predator, pred, sorry, um, yeah, when we can.
So what did you take from your police background to what you're doing now? What are some
Well,
of your things?
I want to make it clear, I was never a police
I don't
officer,
know,
but
you wasn't a police officer
I
per
was a
se, but
peace
you
officer.
had some type of law enforcement. What did
Yes, I was considered law enforcement.
so what
Yes.
did you take from your background in law enforcement to predator catching?
Well, actually, um, I wish I could remember all the details. I was going to look it up before earlier, and I forgot to. But it was national, it was international news. In 1998, there was a man that flew from Belgium to meet a 12-year-old boy at the Albuquerque airport. Okay, I was working. I just got into corrections that time for the county. And the FBI intercepted him and arrested him. Thank goodness. And they only gave him 15 months. So because it was only 15 months, he didn't go to prison. He stayed in that detention center. Then after the 15 months, he was to be expedited back to his country, where it's not illegal in Belgium. It wasn't then. I don't know if it is now, but in Belgium, the age of consent was 12. And he was talking to a 12-year-old here in America.
That's fucked up. That's messed up.
I don't know if that age of consent is still the same in Belgium or not, but that's
That's absurd to think it's somebody to talk to a 12-year-old and not get in trouble or anything like that.
and this may be an unpopular opinion, but it's my opinion. I personally think the age of consent should be 21 years of age. That's my personal opinion. Um,
Wh-
I don't
What
have a
made
problem.
you what made you come to that conclusion? You just
I just remember growing up, you don't really much, and it depends on the person too. Like,
yeah,
I didn't really mature, like become an adult, really until, my early 20s, I guess, or something, where I was finally, taking care of I was, had a family finally, and taking care of them and
yeah,
working whatever I needed to do to support my family. Um, and I just, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe 19, I don't know, but
yeah.
I just don't understand it. I was telling Ryan, I was like, I'm going to be 47 this year. Um, I'm not really dating and or anything, but I've been on a few dates. I found a really nice lady. We went. I took her to the Megadeth concert. She was a huge Megadeth fan just last year. We had a good time. I just didn't click with her, and there's that. But um, what was I getting into? I get on a tangent, forget what I was talking
You
about.
talking about your the age consent and
Oh
you
yeah,
wanted it? Yeah.
yeah. She was actually a year and a half older than I was. And but when I was, my daughters got me hooked up on one of these uh, dating things on Facebook dating or whatever for a while. So they
Mhm.
took a picture and I tried it for a couple of months. I went on a few dates, whatever, and it was fine, but I just didn't. It wasn't my thing. It wasn't my scene. And so I just kind of gave it up.
Yeah.
I want to clear up a few things if I could. Is that okay?
You're good, bro. Talk about whatever you want.
All right. And this is not controversial. I don't want people to think this is controversial because I'm going to mention somebody's. I don't want you to think it's controversial. I've seen it in the chats. I want to clear it up. So I was never going to be in CPP. So whoever keeps spreading that, please stop. I was never going to be in CPP. However, I had his phone number and I was hoping he was going to come here possibly for a catch and I was hoping to learn from him while he was here and to collab because I wanted to start catching myself. I was going to be my own independent.
Yeah.
So that clears that up. I was not going to be part of CPP. I was hoping they would collab, but he didn't take me up on the offer that we had available. And then there was the thing, and I backed away from that
Yeah.
situation. And yeah,
You're better off now
yes,
than you know what I'm saying?
yes,
It's the
absolutely.
I mean, I've never heard that or any of that rumors or anyone knows, so it is what it is, but like I said, you're better off now. You're in good company.
Yeah,
With Ryan. He's got a pretty good head on his shoulders for being
he
so
does.
young, so you're in good
Yeah,
company, brother. So
I
did you
appreciate
have any
it.
nerves on your first catch? What was going through your mind?
Um, I suppose there's nerves, but it's not because I'm scared. That's the thing. I've never been really a scared person because I know I'm going to go when I die. So I just
Hmm.
I like dangerous stuff. And by the way, and I'm not saying whether I am carrying on a catch or not. I'm not saying that, but I got the license and the right to carry concealed, etc. I'm not really scared though. But what it's just you. It's the woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Hmm.
So when it was my first time actually in person confronting, and I didn't say what I wanted to say. And
Yeah,
nothing came out right. And I was thinking about YouTube guidelines, terms of service, live, so I looked back and watched it like once or twice, and I'm a little embarrassed. And plus, the signal is so bad on the live.
yeah,
But it is what it is. He showed up. We do have him on camera, obviously, and we have his vehicle, his license plate, and everything. And it wasn't just an average, your average grinder pred. He was very nasty. That's why we went after. He
yeah,
was it wasn't just to get a catch. That's another thing that I wanted to be careful about. I wanted all my ducks in a row. I wanted, I'm kind of a perfectionist at things. Other things I'm not, but a lot of things I am. And I know about legal stuff because all my reports had to go, to the judge when I was working corrections and detentions and transport and booking and all the stuff I was doing. And if they weren't right, it could throw a case.
yeah.
So, I want to, I'm, people's
Good
like,
that you
oh,
had that background. I didn't mean to
yeah,
interrupt you. Good that you had that background for this instance. You know what I'm saying? You got all your ducks in a row. That way you know you're doing everything you can to bring him forth. That way it doesn't get thrown out.
yeah. And there was some pressure, there was some trolls, there still are, and Jeff's never gonna get a cut, whatever. They don't know what we were doing behind the scenes. They don't know I sat in cars for 10 hours straight, decoying 3 days, nights in a row, behind the scenes without going live. They didn't know that. They didn't know I
Yeah.
had family emergencies and I got sick myself. I'm still kind of recovering, but yeah, life happens. And then I always remind folks as well is that I said it at the beginning that it's going to be a media channel, and I want to do at least one, maybe two, streamcasts a week, and then do one, maybe two catches a week. I wanted to balance it out, for obvious reasons. Everybody knows what's going on with
Yeah.
channels, and I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, so obvious reasons. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do that. Plus, I thought it would. I liked, Ryan was doing it too at the time, and some other people, and I thought this is good for the community. I think because it's kind of an outlet. It's like what you do. It's another outlet. What JDQ does, it's another outlet. What Red Hood does, it's another outlet,
Yeah.
and it's a place you can go and just kind of be yourself more, and not necessarily have to talk about the same thing all the time.
Exactly.
So
That's what I've
that's
been
what I'm
getting at,
doing.
man. Over the past couple months, it doesn't have to revolve around predator catching. I've got a
Exactly.
life outside of that, and you do too. Like I said, it's good that you're doing that. Keep doing it.
I appreciate it. And plus, I'm being honest with everybody. I found out I'm not in very good shape. I'm trying to run after to get the license plate from that dude, the pred. But I'm not young, and I'm aware of that. And I do have health issues. I don't talk about it that often.
Yeah.
I actually got off of most of the medications that I was on for many, many years. I was on the oxys and the hydros and the Xanaxes. The doctors had me on all kinds of stuff. And I literally said, I'm done with this. I don't want to be addicted to this stuff. I heard about it. So I just, boom, gone. Did
Cold
physical
turkey?
therapy. Yeah.
You quit cold turkey?
No. No, I could have. They wanted to give me Suboxone or something. I said, no, just give me a lowest dose you got, and I'll just start cutting them in halves. And yeah, I did it myself like in a week. I mean, it was hard. I didn't realize that your body react. I mean, to me, I thought it was okay. It was prescription medications. And then I started seeing the documentaries and the movie, which I love it, by the way. I'm looking at it. The Town, um, the Oxymorons is another, the better movie, I think. But the Town was the really popular one in theaters. And I realized, I'm like, whoa, these things are addictive. I didn't know they were addictive. I just didn't know it. And I was like, so out of curiosity, I stopped taking them for a day, and I started feeling things I didn't like.
Yeah.
And then that's why I went to my doctor. I made the appointment that day, and I said, I want off this shit now.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, you got to do it slow. You got to do it careful. Okay, just give me a low dose, and I'll just start smashing them in half and, a little quarter. I just did it myself.
So you didn't have any like how was the withdrawal process?
Oh,
You
it was there, obviously, and I joke around a lot, and I've actually said things that were completely false, just a joke, on air before, and a lot of people know it, some don't, but um, I literally, I the only problems I have is my vape, but I'm down to 1 milligram of nicotine. I was at 50, or I'm sorry, 44 milligrams 2 years ago. So I'm almost done. I'm almost done with this. Now I take this. This is what's Delta 8. It's a
Mhm.
CBD with THC infused. Sometimes I get the real stuff. Sometimes, yeah, I get the edibles, but that's what I use. This is my main medication. And I believe in Genesis chapter 3, I believe it is, where every herb yielding seed is good for thy body. So
Yeah.
I believe it's from God. So this is my medicine now. And it's not addicting.
Hey, that's your personal belief, man. And people have opinions. They're gonna say
Mhm.
whatever they want to say, man. So don't keep doing you, bro.
Yeah, and I tell everybody I never, and I know other people do, and that whatever. But me personally, especially with my grandkids, I do not partake in any recreational anything. I
Yeah.
don't even, by the way, anymore. I used to. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, if I'm going to be busy, so I'll go a month sometimes, not even have nothing, and just deal with the pain. But if I'm home and I know that I am done that day or done that night, or there's nothing else to, sure, yeah, I'm gonna, do my
Yeah.
thing at home. But I will never drive under the influence of anything. Period. I've been very strict about that because I got a DWI at 21, and it's finally going to be off my driving record, I think, this year. That was probably the biggest crime, was my DWI, but nothing. Yes, I went to jail for one night and I got probation community service, and that was it. But I learned my lesson.
It's good because not a lot of people can say the same. You've had people that have countless DUIs, or they end their life, or they kill somebody else because they take the chance of driving drunk or under the influence of something else.
And see, that's another thing too. When I talk about age, I when I was saying about age of consent, with 21, I may be a little high. I could be wrong. Maybe it should be 19. I don't know. I'm just saying that even then, still wasn't mature enough,
Yeah,
because I would, if I was still drinking today, I would never do that, never. But and I never even thought about hurting somebody else. All I was worried about is I don't want to get in trouble driving drunk.
yeah,
So, but I wasn't really that. I didn't really think I was drunk at the time. I really was. I stopped drinking like 4 hours prior. And my brother, he's 5 years younger than me, and he was like, "Please take me in. My two girlfriends home." And I don't know. And her dad was one of the cops that got me, by the way. And I almost got another charge because I had my brother and his two little friends in the back. They're 5 years younger. It was a mess. I'm like, what? It was a checkpoint. And
yeah.
I actually passed the test, the walking and the standing. I did everything pretty good. It was a breathalyzer that did it.
That screwed you
And
over.
but the ironic thing is, I did I sincerely learned my lesson, and I said that night in the jail cell to the lieutenant, I said I was applying for the police department. And she goes, "You can, in 1 year." She goes, "You can get on here." I said, "Really?" And sure enough, 1 year later, I got on there, and the officer, he's a good guy. I never forget him, Officer Chavez. He's retired. He looked at me and says, "I told you you'd get it," because he was a really nice police officer. We had a good talk on the way to the jail. So it turned out for good.
That's good,
I
man.
learned my lesson. Nobody got hurt. The dad didn't file additional. He was just scaring me, which he did a good job, and he should have.
That was
Um,
yeah.
I
Who
just
could
told my
blame him?
brother, "I'm not going to take you and your little friends home."
Yeah, who could blame him though? That's his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame it at all. Don't blame him at all. But yeah, that was the probably one of the biggest scares, for me in my life, with the law, I guess. Um, obviously there was parties, minor in possession of alcohol tickets.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, just yeah. Um, you wouldn't be able to get a concealed carry permit in New Mexico unless you have a good, what they call a good record. So I've had a concealed carry permit since 2007 or 2008. So yes, I my whole life has been under microscopes because I had to get so many FBI and state background checks for almost every job I've done because it was high profile, whatever it was, security, corrections, detentions, transport, whatever it was. They have to do that full background, the lie
yeah.
detector, the whole nine, talk to your family, your second grade teacher, everything. They dig deep. It's
Interview
like, whoa,
everybody. Your
what's
next door
that?
neighbor from 20 years ago. Everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, they dig deep. They dig really deep. So I've always been under a microscope. I try to be as transparent as possible. And I really mean that, chat, too. I really do try to be as honest as possible.
We can
Uh,
see that, man. We can see that you've owned up to your mistakes and people like things that you've gone through in your life. You
mhm.
seem like a genuine guy who's got a good head on your shoulders.
I
We all make
appreciate.
mistakes, man. We do stupid stuff. So that's good
Yeah,
that you've owned up to it. You could have hit it. You could have like, okay, I didn't do that, and you wouldn't be the person that you are now, man. So you seem like a good man of character.
I appreciate that. And I there's a lot of things I've learned in life too. And it's it really. is interesting. When I turned 40, things really did change for me. I
Mhm.
started to calm down. I started to think more and be more patient and be more open minded about other things and just relax a little bit. And I think that's kind of that middle age area where things happen like that, and it makes me think. And also, I have a lot of regret. Woulda, coulda,
Yeah.
shoulda. I maybe I should have done that. Uh, Taken that modeling thing a little further, and maybe could have been in some movies or something. I don't know. Maybe I should have tried with a different band, or maybe shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
And that is just part of life. It really is. And
You don't want to
but
look back at the end of your life and think about the things that you could have done or things that you should have done. You want to look
absolutely,
back like, look, man, I lived a good life. You know,
yeah,
I made mistakes, did some stupid shit, but I'm
yeah.
here. I lived a good life.
And
So where do you? Go
um,
ahead.
oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
You're good, man. I was going to
Oh,
ask you. Go ahead, man.
um,
StreamYard's a little messed up sometimes.
yeah. I think for me, it was important to be transparent. Um, about and I was right away, by the way. I probably said too much about myself, to be honest with you, but I was very transparent right away. I've always been under a microscope, so I don't have a problem. In fact, I encourage, especially from my experience already, I encourage the catchers be looked at a little bit. Just like if you apply for a job, many jobs, it could be McDonald's nowadays. Some of them do background checks, to make sure you're not on the registry, or you're not a felon, or you're not a dangerous criminal, whatever it is.
Mhm.
um, some places won't hire you if you've had a DWI in the last so many years, fill in the blank. So I don't have a problem with people looking at my record. It's open record anyways. You can anybody. My brother's got it on his watch, his smart watch. We were looking at my record the other day. I was like, damn. I was like, I didn't know I had that many tickets back then in Minneapolis, and that many in Dallas, and that many. I had a lot of sports cars growing up. So I was a wild child. I really was. I mean, I was very, very, very wild. I did a lot of things I regret, you know,
Yeah.
I really did. But it's the past. The past is the past, and now is now. And um, I'm really passionate about going forward with this. I'm really passionate about. My two daughters are interested in decoying now, and what my youngest one has now twice, and
Yeah.
I'm
I
very
was going to
happy
ask
to.
you about that. How did she approach you? How did that conversation go?
Well, because of my ex-wife and I's divorce and everything, I can't talk about everything, but there's properties. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. I'm in a suburb. They're in the city, in a upper nice neighborhoods, and so being closer to seven, my partner that Ryan found for me, he was already a supporter in my room, which is really cool, and he's doing really good, by the way. He's very, 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 very good. He's quiet, and people might not think, but he's very professional. But they were watching us hanging out the house, because sitting in a car for after 6 or 7 hours, it just gets old. You just got to stretch and be somewhere. So we just go over there, and yeah. So he's met all my kids and my ex-wife and her new husband and everything. We're all great friends. We're just one big family. He's met all my kids and grandkids and everything. It's all good. So we do a lot of decoying over there, and they watched, and then they got the taste of my youngest daughter doing it, and then my oldest daughter was watching. She says, I could do this. And they was like, and so now they're interested. So if you guys know anybody that wants to looking for decoys, I have two daughters that are very interested for the bigger branches out there that maybe can spare a little here and there, and they'll be happy to do some decoying.
That's
And
awesome.
then, and of course, they did tell me that once Dad, me, if I ever get a big channel and whatever, it gets monetized. Of course, they want to work for Dad. They want to work for me, And I was happy to pay my daughter for decoying. It made me feel good,
And that's
It,
awesome that your family is behind you and supports you enough to willing to do it. That's
Yeah,
awesome. And he gives you that time to bond with your kids too, you know,
absolutely. And my grandkids,
and your
absolutely.
grandkids as well. That's awesome that you can make it a whole family affair. And
Yeah,
like I said, do something that you're passionate about with your kids. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. And of course, like during the day, of course, we don't, the decoy phone. When I'm there, it's off. The kids, we don't get them involved in letting them hear that nasty.
Yeah.
But when they're off to bed, that's really kind of when I sometimes when we start, and then nighttime is pretty hopping, the apps are hopping, sometimes
Yeah.
they start hopping in the afternoon too. But um,
Yeah, I mean, the grandkids obviously you don't want them to see a lot of stuff because Preds are sick. They, you know,
yeah,
of course, their mind is warped. You don't want them to know everything, every little detail. But it's good that you
yeah,
got your daughters involved. They're old enough to make that decision to support you and get involved and whatnot.
yeah, and also I let them know about some. They kind of already knew anyways, and I'm thankful. It makes me a proud, father when they said that because my two of my oldest grandsons are really into Minecraft and Fortnite and all these games. I don't know much about them, but they're really into them and they like watching gamers on YouTube.
Mhm.
And I was really getting concerned, and I asked my daughter and son-in-law to be some one day. I said, there's people that can get, you know, on the internet to these games. I don't know much about it. He goes, oh no, we got parental control on it. And
Yeah,
they do have parental controls on everything. I'm so thankful for that. So I was relieved. I was like,
that's good. They weren't exposed
uh,
to the sick people. Cupcake asked where you grew up. She missed that part. If you want to
I'm
repeat
sorry.
that, where you grew up.
Well, I was like an army. I wasn't an army brat, even though my dad was in the army, but that was before. But I was a first generation tech brat. So when the whole internet thing, the computers, the internet became a thing, a home thing. The big old Apple IICs and the Commodore 64s in the early mid 80s.
Yeah,
Well, that was the thing. Microsoft, there's Windows, which he is from Albuquerque, Bill Gates. I'm not a fan of him at all. But, anyways, he tried to get a loan here and nobody would give him a loan. And now he's what, second richest man in the world or something. But,
he was. Yeah.
yeah. But, so yeah, we moved around. Uh, so we were in Dallas, Texas, from basically my middle school years to my high school years. And then uh, Minneapolis, St. Paul for almost two, and then I've been here aside for a few years because of little gaps and what have you since '96 here in the Albuquerque, New Mexico area, except for like those few years back up north, the Midwest area, and the Four Corners. But yeah,
So you said your favorite is Texas, even to this day. What about Texas do you love so much?
I've been to. I have to recount. I don't want to say the wrong number, but around 40 states, but in two countries. But Texas to me is home. I love Texas. My political views are more in the Texas area. Um, I just love Texas. I miss the ocean for one. I can't go surfing anymore in Galveston. I can't. I don't know if I could anyways at my age. But I used to love it. We used to go down to Galveston, which is near Alex. And I just miss it. There's so much to do. It's just a state that's like a country of its own.
Yeah,
Has, there's a lot.
that's what I miss about the big city living in Tampa. There was always something to do. I live in a country now, which I like because it's peaceful at
Yeah.
night. But
Mhm.
like you, just to have that access, if you want to go do something, you want to go somewhere, things are open 24/7 now. Like here, things are closed at 10 o'clock, pretty
Yeah.
much. Like even gas stations are closed at 10 o'clock.
Hmm.
And like at Tampa, nothing is closed. Everything is open pretty much 24/7. So I miss
Yeah.
that part.
I actually I don't know if Alex is in here or not.
I don't think
Uh
he is.
I think Jesus is. I know they mentioned how Dallas sucks. I'm actually really want to know what they mean by that, if it's an inside joke or something I don't know about. Because when I grew up there, it was badass. And
They're from Houston or Jesus.
yeah,
They're from the Houston area, so that must be like a
we
that might
had
be
the
what it is. I don't know.
we had
Cowboys suck.
yeah, we had
Not a Cowboys
Pantera.
fan, but
The music scene was just bumping, the bands, and we got to play the clubs, and it. Yeah, I mean, I was a. Yeah, I should not. Anyways, I mean, yeah, I mean, when you're in a band and back then, and you gain some popularity, you have a little fun, sinful fun, a lot really.
yeah.
So, but it was bumping. It was a lot to do, and I actually it was just fun. The last girlfriend I had there, she became a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader for a while, and she got to go from that to a modeling career and stuff. It was just a fun town to me. Like
Hmm.
we would go to Houston. I have family in Houston too, and there was a time where we were down in Southeast Texas for a while too, and even San Antonio area, Kerrville, etc., Corpus. I just love Texas. I really do. There's certain parts of Texas I do not like that much. I'm near Amarillo. Amarillo is okay, like to pass through and everything, and check out the. I saw Alex do the challenge. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Alex, if you see this on doing all the challenges. I could never do those. But speaking of Alex, he just went live. I think at PP Southeast Texas. I think that might be him that went live. Prank
I think
calls.
he had a premiere earlier. I don't know if he's live now or not. I didn't get a
Oh,
notification.
unless PP Southeast Texas does prank calls, that may be him. But
Uh, I didn't
anyway,
get any.
Amarillo is okay. There's nice people there. There really is. There's a lot of nice people in Amarillo. And but if I really, and my youngest daughter, and of course one of my grandsons as well, and soon to be son-in-law, etc. We're really considering moving to Dallas, Fort Worth, or Houston, or San Antonio. Maybe El Paso is so close to us. It's beautiful there. I love the weather. They have a lot of palm trees as opposed to here. It's a little bit high altitude, and there's not as much. I don't know. I just like the subtropical type climates.
Yeah,
And I mean, Albuquerque's not bad, but we're not as warm as Texas.
but it
Probably
gets
warmer
hot
than
there
Amarillo.
in New Mexico though. Like during the summer, it gets like in the hundreds, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, I would say probably mid June till monsoon season, which is usually in August. We're always in the upper 90s no matter what.
Hmm.
But 115, 116 is not unusual to have here and there. 108, not as hot as Phoenix, but in fact, our temperature is very, very similar to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hmm.
But we average, because we're high desert. We average 8 degrees cooler than them, especially at nighttime in the wintertime. It gets pretty chilly here.
That 8 degrees matters though.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's like I can drive if we used to my wife and I used to do it all the time. My ex-wife, we used to do it all the time with the kids. We go sand surfing at White Sands, New Mexico. It's a 2 hour drive, or the way I drove back then, an hour and a half.
Yeah,
And we would leave here, say in February, and it would be 60 degrees here, which is still not bad, right? But we would get there, and there's big old palm trees everywhere swaying at 75, 80 degrees, and we're sand surfing in the middle of winter, having a blast.
yeah.
So there's a lot of cool places here too. In Arizona, of course, is close to us, in Colorado and Utah. There's a lot of, I just love Texas. I don't know. God bless Texas.
But the thing is, people that lived in Texas, everybody that I've met from Texas is like that. I don't know what it is about Texas, but they're proud of it that they're from Texas or they lived in Texas. It's everybody that I know that's is like that. You're
I
not the
was
only
gonna wear
one,
my
brother.
You don't mess with Texas. And I
Don't
was
mess
gonna wear
with
my
Texas.
Dallas Cowboys hat tonight. It's up there. I was gonna wear my Dallas Cowboys hat, but I forgot
It's a
to
good thing
last.
you didn't.
I was deciding between that and my Kiss hat. No, I like my hats. People. I had, in the light makes it look blonder, but no, I had hair, like I've had long hair a lot, different at different
Mhm.
times in my life. But when I worked in law enforcement and stuff, I couldn't have long hair. I've been a headbanger, so it's kind of like my thing. And then I had it cut when I decided I was going to do this, and thinking I was going to possibly take a Skeeter Jean approach, or and be more professional with a tie or something. That
Yeah.
I was just juggling ideas. And I was like, well, let me just cut my hair where I can still put it, in a tail and still headbang if I go to a concert. I know I'm stuck in the 80s.
Hey,
But
you're
anyway,
yourself though, man. That's what people like about you. I think that's what people will gravitate towards you. Is you're yourself. You don't have
yeah,
to be like Skeeter Jean or any other predator catcher. You can be yourself, bro.
yeah.
Just do your thing, man.
So, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. And I love Skeeter Jean, by the way. I think he's amazing.
Yeah. I wasn't knocking him by any means. I'm just
Oh, I know,
saying,
I know.
yeah,
I just wanted to put that out there just so people know I'm a big fan of him too. By the way, I'm looking forward to Constantine. He's already doing some stuff too. He's done some catches with Alex, and the
yeah.
other, and Jesus is cool. I mean, I'm a big fan. I really am. I don't want to be. I got to experience, I guess, what you call fame a little bit back in the
Yeah.
day, and it doesn't. I don't. I'm not looking to be a YouTuber. I mean, yeah, we're on YouTube, but you know what I mean.
You're not in it for the clout or for the donos, or you're
No,
not in it for that. You're in it for the right reasons. That's what
yeah.
matters.
However, I did realize, and I was told, you got to get some donos. This is expensive. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
I still don't have any, but I'm realizing, yes, it is expensive.
It
But
does cost money. I'm not gonna. That's a given, but that's not your driving force.
yeah, and there's things I can. I'm partially retired. I can't talk about a lot of things, but because that incident, okay, but I have a back thingy. Everybody's got issues, something. Not
Mhm.
everybody, most of us got something wrong with us, right? And I happen to get some other things that it's like, you get older, things start to happen.
Yep.
Uh, Energy goes down, of course, and memory lapses and stuff. It's like, well, I'm officially getting old, I guess. I'm officially getting old. Here it is, and so, but I'm really in this for the right reasons. But I realize I just can't spend any more of my own money because I've already spent close to $3,000 now, and uh, paying, people. It's just really difficult. So yeah, but I'm taking everything in steps. Like I had a goal. I would have different goals, and my next goal is to get to 500 so I can have a community page. And I think I'm like, I don't know how many subs I have. I think
You're at
it's
400 something. I saw it the other day. You're at 400 something subs. So you guys
450, I
go
think.
ahead. I know Ryan plugged your channel earlier. Go ahead and plug his channel, please, and that way we can get him some subscribers. So he can get to that 500 mark.
Yeah,
Um,
that's my next goal, is that community page, because I talked to EYLP, the other group here, briefly. We're going to be getting together, hopefully, maybe collabing, which would be nice. But we want to get a petition done to take to Santa Fe ourselves to try to get this stupid law changed from a misdemeanor to a felony. Look, if it goes from a misdemeanor to a fourth degree felony, that's progress. Even though I'm not happy about that, it should be a first or second degree felony. First
yeah.
degree, yeah, first degree, like murder. I would be happy if it just became a felony.
Anything
Uh,
besides a slap on the wrist.
yes, and then maybe people will see our work on the news or something, or whatever, or YouTube or whatever it is, and maybe a couple years or something later, they'll see what's going on and how bad it really is, because it is really bad. I actually am very shocked. I More shocked than I thought I would be when everybody was telling me how bad it is behind the scenes. It is
Mhm.
bad. Um, and Again, I'm losing my train of thought, but
You're good,
um,
man.
yeah, but I've just been going through goals, and when I got to the 50 or 100 or whatever it was, I could finally go live because they had changed it from 1,000 back to, which is cool. And then I had a goal. I got another thing from like 300 subs. YouTube gave me some extra tools and whatever. And then I was like, well, when do I get my community page? I just didn't want to go live all the time because I
Uh-huh.
was going live quite a bit. And
Try to get that number up.
yeah, and trying to get info out and just, promoting myself because in the music industry or the entertainment business, people promote you. You don't have to promote yourself. People
Uh-huh.
promote you. And I've had a lot of people promote me as well, and I really appreciate that people in the community that's done that.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to promote myself, and I probably took too long doing that before I got my first catch. Maybe I did, and I learned from that. But it is what it is.
There's
We
nothing
all
wrong with
make
promoting
mistakes.
yourself to a point where people know you're genuine. People know that you're doing it for the right reasons. Just don't think that you're promoting yourself is a bad thing because
Yeah,
you takes you're bringing awareness to what you're
yeah,
doing. So that's like I said, you're keeping the main thing the main thing. I said it
yeah.
once. The only time I'm gonna say it tonight. But anyways,
Yeah. I actually, you just reminded me of something. I was, I think on a stream with Ryan. I think it was actually last night when we were on the stream. I'm not sure, but I said keep the main thing, and I forgot where I heard that from.
it
Now
was
I
me.
remember.
It was me.
Oh my goodness, that is so cool, Chris, and I really appreciate what you do.
I
Uh, um, and I just want to also let everybody know I like to joke around too, and a lot of the trolls are actually funny. I laugh at most of it. I mean, they're funny. I don't
yeah.
have a. There's a few that are a little nasty, but for the most part, even though there are a few bad apples in anything that you do in life and everywhere you are, there's bad apples on YouTube and there's bad apples in our community. But for the most part, the good outweighs the bad because the bad ones are in a small group, but
Uh,
they just cause so much, problems. But most of the community are, in my opinion, well, from what I can tell and see, are very, very supportive and want to be involved in one way, shape, or form.
they see, like I said, you for your genuineness, so they're going to support you. That you're in it for
Yeah,
the right reasons. So they're going to support you. You're going to have trolls. You just got
yeah.
to learn to deal with it, not let it get it to you, not let it bother you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have to have thick skin. I mean, I'm not saying I've never been scared before. It's like I remember when I first, we went to the academy and there was a certain time towards the end of that month or whatever it was, then 6 weeks that we had to go into the facility. That's when the moment of truth was. And I remember
Mm.
my first time, I had a little butterflies,
Yeah.
but once that door closed, that boom, that metal door slams. So we started out with maybe 15 people in the academy, right? Maybe 20. By the time we get to that part, we have maybe 6 to 7 people left. And then that day, half of the group bailed. They freaked out and said, let me out, let me
Can
out.
handle it.
So I grit my teeth and, I just did what I do. And I don't know
Mm.
where I get it from. Maybe my great grandpa, he was full blooded Apache and he was very strong. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have that little bit of Apache in me, I guess. But I, I just like adrenaline rush. I don't know. So
It's good that it's good that you build that way. You don't bail at the first time, at the first sight of obstacles or something that's
yeah.
may not go as planned, bro. You're gonna have those times when everything doesn't go according to plan. You just got to
Hmm.
stick to it. If
Absolutely.
anybody in the chat wants to start asking some questions, we get them rolling in.
Yeah, it's true, Dragonfly. If you haven't had a troll here, then you're doing something wrong. That's true. I was
Yeah.
just telling Ryan that Chris and Jeff vibe together so well. Cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking to you, Chris. I know I've been on one of your streams briefly, just on audio, and when the bad thing happened to the channel, that one channel.
Oh, predator poachers.
Yeah, that I don't know how I would handle that. Alex, he's a beast. He's good. I joke around and say I simp for Alex. Of course, I mean, I just have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
I joke. I don't seriously simp. Alex. I'm just saying I have a lot of respect for him and his team. But that's just, I remember that page since I can remember, when it
Yeah.
went off because I was already in the community. And it's just crazy to see that happen. And with some other, I don't even want to say it. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much. But
It's
yeah,
all
just
good, man.
the
He's
other
one
one.
of those people that I was talking about. He doesn't run at the first sight of
Yeah,
trouble,
he,
adversity. He embraces it and keeps on going. So that says a lot about him and who he is.
yes, absolutely. Ryan's the same way because I remember when Ryan first started, and I admit it, and he knows it. I saw him with PP Mask, like, who is this kid? You understand my age. I don't know how old you are, but I'm just saying, to me, to me, like my kids are in their 20s,
Yeah,
24, 27, 8, something. You have to forgive me. But yeah, to me, it's like they're kids still. They're young. So when I say that, it's not to be rude or anything, but yeah, he seemed like a good kid, and then things happened, and we all know that. And then when he made his comeback and everything, I literally was on that stream, and I started watching him, and I started studying. I was like, you know what? And then that's the time that Alex just perfected everything basically, and I was like, they're really a lot alike. And Alex is just a more bolder person at times, maybe.
yeah,
But so that's why I said, well, I hope if one of them asked me, NVCAP or predator poachers, I will accept with no questions asked. But they wouldn't. It's fine. But Ryan was the
somebody
first.
asked if somebody asked if you lift weights. I
I
didn't mean to
used
cut you off.
to. I
You
need
used to?
to. I used to though, and I'm gonna start hitting the gym because I realized when that guy got away, um, I could not run. I did, but I was so out of shape. Thankfully, Ben, he's about 20 years younger than me. Well, I think he's, I'm not sure, but 17 years or something like that younger than me. But he was able to get the license plate. Plus, he had a good camera too.
That's
So if
good
it
though.
wasn't for him, I don't know what I would have done without him.
Yeah,
And of
that's
course, my
good that you
daughter.
got the plate, bro. And it's like I said, it's all baby steps. You'll get better as you gain more catches under your belt and going forward. I'm just
Absolutely.
trying to see if there's any more questions. Jesus, what's your story part two? Interesting. Seven
I'm
and
looking. I'm looking forward to seeing Constantine when he starts doing some catches and stuff.
yes. Go ahead and plug your channel too, Cons. I mentioned it last time. He's posting a lot more content now.
Oh yeah,
Other stuff outside of predator catching, but I believe he's going to be doing it himself as well. So
he's gonna be doing his, and he's gonna be doing similar to what I'm doing. Just he wants to do his own thing, and one of his own things is to catch predators. But he's also
exactly.
got we have a lot in common, I think, and I think I mean, we joke around with each other. I call my partner in crime in chats and stuff, and we have a lot of the same interests, musically and everything. And he's very bass, and we've helped him out in a lot of different streams. Like I believe in doing that, and he even subbed to my daughter because he wants to help her.
Yeah.
Just to show support with new channels. So thank you, Constantine. Everybody else, even if you're not into makeup, but this last video that my daughter did, the first song is like really, really cool if you like rock music. So I was like, at least check it out. But yeah, I'm helping my oldest daughter. She's trying her thing. And
Exactly. And I'll post her channel under the comments after the interview.
okay,
Remind me if I don't do it tomorrow. If I
okay.
forget, remind me and I'll do it. Or you can do it when. Somebody asked, "Are you doing any ghost hunting?"
Oh, let's see.
I think
Okay,
that was a joke, but
well, what
are you into ghost hunting?
I don't want to. I don't want to dig up an old situation, but yeah, we were thinking of somebody. Yeah, we were going to go to Arizona. Whoever wanted to come in the community, we were going to maybe possibly get some catchers at the time, to do a catch, and we were gonna do it all for charity. And
Mm-hmm.
we were gonna go rent this ghost town, and we were gonna sleep in the graveyard, and whoever it was gonna be fun. And We were going to live stream things, and whatever proceeds we made, we were going to give it to PNN. We were going to talk to them about it, of course, but we were going to give it
Okay.
to PNN and let them distribute it in the community how they see fit, whether it meant so and so needs a GoPro or so and so needs, or whatever, or a little bit to a charity organization.
Yeah.
So no, no, we're not going to be doing that now. I mean, maybe next year we can try to plan that again. But the person that was really strongly involved, I won't say the name, is just not in the community anymore. So at least
No,
of
it's
right.
okay.
So
Well, I know who you're talking about, but yeah, it's all good. Yeah, Constantine, go ahead and plug your
future
stuff.
variety.
Did you hang out with the band DRI? That's another question that somebody asked.
How did they know that? Wait, who asked that?
Jay, I've never seen this guy in my stream before, so
Oh,
uh,
JW. Yes. Okay. Did you hear this? I thought maybe you heard this. I told the story on my stream before. So, okay. There is when I growing up in Dallas, we used to go to this place. It was the rock quarries, and you jump off. We're not supposed to be out there, but we were. And Pantera was Dimebag and his bro. Well, that's his nickname. They called him Diamond Daryl until Pantera. Okay, the band Pantera and
yeah,
DRI. There was a lot of bands that were out there that were from the area or cruising through the area to meet Pantera or whatever. So we went out there, and we were, and they were trying to get me to jump. And I was going to, but I was a little nervous. Don't get me wrong, because it's a long way to the bottom and it's dark, so it's a little frightening. So DRI and Pan and Vinny and Dimebag Daryl were over there and they were drinking beer. And so they gave me two Colt 45s, malt liquor, one of my favorite malt liquors back then. And they said, chug, chug, chug. And I drank the two beers and I said, here I go. And I ran and I did it. So yes, I got to meet DRI, and yes, I used to skateboard to thrash music for a little while in the late '80s.
he was a skater boy. That's not an
For a little
80s.
while.
That's not an
For a
80s rock song, but it just came to my head.
little.
Um, so any other questions? Another random thought by me. Um,
I'm looking.
I'm waiting. So your favorite song by Kiss and AC/DC?
Oh man, that's hard. Why do people ask? Like, oh man, okay, ACDC. Oh my goodness, that's so hard. I want to go with Bon Scott off of Highway to Hell. Touch Too Much.
Okay.
Um, or Dirty Deeds Under or Thunderstruck. I don't know. It's so hard.
Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck. There we'll go.
Yes.
Thunderstruck. Kiss. Some people may not even know this song. It's kind of a rough cut, but it did make the charts a little bit. It was off there. Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say "Heaven's on Fire" or "Tears Are Falling" or "All Night." Um, I'll say "Heaven's on Fire." And yes, it is the '80s Kiss, even though I have most of my vinyls from the '70s. But yeah, or "Modern Day Delilah" 2008. That's also one of my favorites.
So what do you think of Kiss once they took off their makeup? Because there was a
Um,
time.
I've only seen them one time actually, and it's when they had the reunion in the late '90s, and they put the makeup back on. And so I've only got to see them once, but it was the original lineup, and thankfully that particular leg of the tour they didn't play just the '70s, which is great. They played everything up to that moment, which was Psycho Circus, their latest album.
Uh-huh.
So to hear all the classics, and Paul Stanley could still sing then. So it
Even
was
in the
great.
90s.
Got to meet him
Yeah.
briefly because we had the VIP with 94 Rock at that time. I will say that I got to shake, Paul and Gene's hand, but the real nice ones were Peter, Chris, and Ace Frehley. They were the nicest ones. I'll say that. Paul was pretty cool too, but Gene was very egotistical and stuck up.
See, another Band of Thunderstruck. I love that song. I like See. That's so many AC/DC songs that I like. It's hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah, it really is. It
I
really
like,
is.
I guess, Back in Black. I have to go with Back in Black. I have to say
Yeah,
that.
It's classic. It's a
Yeah,
classic. I think it's like number that album, of course, has sold so many units, 50 million
yeah,
worldwide, and I think it was they said 20 some odd million in the United States alone. Maybe it's more than that, but it's double diamond, and it's like number 6 or 7 on the number one selling. Like Appetite for Destruction's on there. Um, Garth Brooks is on there. Eagles. Um, yeah, Journey, bands like Def Leppard, Van Halen, of course. That was my first concert. Was Van Halen, downtown Dallas, 1991. You can see it on the internet, and I'm. You can see me for the first 10 seconds or so. I'm literally at the bottom left corner, and I have my hair's about right here, and I was 15 or 16 years old. Yeah, it's on YouTube in the Van Halen Archive channel, so that's pretty cool.
sweet.
It was fun. That was my first big concert. There was like 60,000 people there in downtown Dallas, and it was crazy though. There was no. They had to stop it after about. I think it was just less than an hour. So people were getting squashed to death, and people were throwing glass bottles in the
That's
air.
crazy.
Yeah, it was fun, but yeah, you had to watch the sky because when every time you saw a bottle coming your way, you had to make sure it's not going to land on your head.
Something hit you in the head.
Yeah. And the last mosh pit I was in was in 1995, I believe, Target Center with Pantera, typo negative Pantera. And when Cowboys from Hell came on, I knew the dudes, and I was living in Minneapolis. So
Uh-huh.
I just ran down and I got in the mosh pit and it was a blast. But I got tired of getting broken noses and stuff getting in mosh pits. So I decided that was it for me on mosh pits
That's
after that.
enough. Enough of mosh pitting. You're getting broken noses and broken
I
body
got
parts.
Freely's Comet, absolutely. I got the vinyl and I've got the CD on, and I got Spaceman, his new one and his newer one, and I also got oh shoot, something Volume 2. I don't have the Volume 1. I forget what it's called by Ace Frehley. Def Leppard are very cool, and I got to take my daughter to her first big concert, which was Def Leppard and Journey. And she, at my oldest daughter, she's my oldest daughter is gothic in a sense. She's kind of
Hmm.
gothic. Um, we're a Christian family. We're not perfect by any means, but
Yeah.
we have the same beliefs. But we also love probably too much some of the worldly stuff, which JDQ gets into, and I agree with him. He's right. But we do
Shout
like
out to JDQ
yeah,
and his Vision IView channel. I think he was alive earlier, but go ahead.
yeah, he was. But yeah, we like our music, and she likes country music a lot, and but
Yeah.
she also loves goth and she loves metal and hard rock. So pretty much all my kids are the same way. We all love the same stuff. Really, it's really cool. Even my grandsons are metalheads. My I won't say his name. My oldest one, he's got a mohawk now, and my daughter will spray a different color every day because she loves Cobra Kai. He likes Hawk
I
off
love that
Cobra.
show. Cobra
I
Kai.
love Cobra Kai, and he loves metal. And he's got a Megadeth shirt with Vic Rattlehead, the like Eddie from Iron Maiden. He's also got 2 Kiss shirts. No, I got him Love Gun, and he's got a Cobra Kai shirt, and he's got his other Kiss shirt. So, and then my second youngest has got I think a Kiss shirt or an ACDC shirt.
And you're training them up to love music. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
How'd you get the nickname Texas? I think it's from your Texas. I'm going to say
yeah.
that.
It's probably somebody that knows me personally. I was called Tex, and that was my nickname. Well, actually, it was called Alcatex. Um, boy, I don't know how long you're wanting to go here, but when I moved, I was young. Okay, I was still a teenager, but when I moved to Dallas to Minneapolis, I had met this girl and whatever. And anyways, this gang, um, they were big and they were rough and everybody was scared of them, and the list goes on. I won't say the name, but a long story short is my buddy and I got in my truck leaving our girlfriends at this house, and they pulled up because they were jealous, and they surrounded my truck, and they were big, and I was a bodybuilder for a little while, and I was not near their size. but I won't say it is what it was. But you guys can probably hopefully use your imagination. But I didn't really have a choice, and I would have been justified. But anyways, I a last minute plan because they had guns and stuff. I didn't have mine with me at that time, but I had a last minute plan. So I grabbed his head real quick and I jerked him, and then I pulled out my switch thing and I put it right here and I said something. And so they called me Alcatex for I came from Texas and they thought I was Al Capone, like, Al Capone, because
You
what I
didn't
did.
take no prisoners.
And that stuck, and I was like, it. That was just a thought I had to do because there was no way out of the situation because I knew they would beat our asses.
Yeah.
It's just the way it was.
You did
So
what you had
it
to
was just
do.
me thinking,
Yeah.
but we end up having like it was almost like a teenage mafia thing because we'd have these meetings there was this place called Times Square in the suburbs of South Minneapolis, in Apple Valley, and we used to cruise around there, and we would meet, and it would, and me and my a friend of mine were the spokesperson for our crowd, if you will, like half of the suburbs, and then their side, and we would meet to talk about stuff like it was a mafia meet, but it was actually serious though. Like some people were
Yeah.
packing heat and stuff, but it's just dumb things you do growing up, I guess, and most of them now are good people doing good things, we were young.
So you wouldn't somebody to mess with back in the day, man. If your back
Oh,
was
I
up
would.
against the wall, we
I'll
all
tell everybody the same thing. I've won as many fights as I've lost,
yeah.
and I have been in a lot. I never had to be honest with you, because I had a lot of friends that would just. But no, I've won as many as I've lost. Probably I've
Yeah.
50-50. I'm not bragging about nothing. I don't do that, and that's
I
being
wasn't
honest.
saying that as you were bragging. I'm just saying that you stood up for
Yeah,
yourself when you had to.
yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, yeah. And I always try to. I've taught my girls, and they're very well trained with firearms and pepper spray and tasers and stuff that we are legally allowed to have here.
Hmm.
And so they're very well trained, and you know, many of us are certified and everything, and so that's good.
And that's good if they're
I'm sorry, I
packing. You're
I
good.
didn't read the chat virtually. I looked over and I tried to read a few here and there tonight, but I
You're good, man.
assume once it will process, the chat will reappear at some point, probably tomorrow,
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll watch this again and go through the chats. So
Okay. So, any final thoughts while we're wrapping things up? Any last words or anything like that?
I'm sure I forgot a lot of things, but again, if you could sub to my daughter's channel, it's she uses her real first name. It may be a fake, but it's Anna Maria. We'll put it in the
I'll
well,
post it in a little bit. Like I
Constantine.
said,
Can you drop the link? Could you put?
he's a mod. He could if he's still in here. I don't know if he is or not. He just
Yeah,
commented. But like I said, if not, I'll post it on my comments. Remind me tomorrow if I forget, and I'll do it. But it's been a
I
pleasure talking to
appreciate
you,
it.
man. It's almost
You
been two
too.
hours. It doesn't feel like it's been 2 hours, bro.
I know, and I want to tell you, Chris. I've been watching you since I don't know, probably when you started, I guess.
I started in June, so it's almost been a year.
Wow, I've
Yeah,
been sucking you ever since. I haven't watched all of them yet, but I've watched over half of your
yeah.
videos. Um, and I didn't even know much about what was happening, the whole wish or whatever. Whatever, I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess I came in a little late on that one, but I know it's just out of fun, people joking, I guess. So I probably said it a few times. I don't really understand it that much. I think I do, but I don't know. I don't know.
It's all love, man. It's all
Yeah,
love, man.
it
It's
is. My family, we make fun of each other all the time, and
yeah,
we have multiracial Oh, my literally, my son-in-law, his parents were legally came from Mexico. We have a very diverse family, so we joke with each other all the time. I mean, some. some jokes people would say, oh,
Yeah,
like, how would you say that to your own son-in-law, your own daughter, your own dad, or whoever, whatever the case is? Like, because we love each other, it's out
yeah.
of fun. So you have to have thick skin. Thank
I've learned that. Like I
you.
said, we um don't get offended or anything like that. We troll each other. I troll myself. You'll see
Yeah,
it. I troll myself all the time. So it's all love.
yeah. Thank
Like
you.
Nate and I, we troll each other on Instagram to
Yeah.
photos and stuff like that. Like it's all love, man. I
Hey, Nate.
appreciate. Huh?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Nate, I have a lot of respect for you. I really do. I know we've talked before, but I just want you to know that I have a lot of respect for you, um, and the whole Predator Poachers team, including the branches and stuff. So just know, I can take jokes and it's fun. So don't worry about me. I'm thick-skinned, but I just wanted to let you know I appreciate you, Nate, and Constantine, and I'm everybody that's supportive. I appreciate everybody that's supportive. Ryan has just been amazing. Webb, I've never met anybody personally,
Yeah,
but through interaction on the internet and the phone and stuff. And I know everybody has their own personality. Everybody has their own way of catching or whatever it may be, or decoying, or just being a good moderator or just a supporter. Everybody has different personalities, and I think that's part of the problem. And I'm guilty myself. I may have judged a certain person in Colorado too much, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I won't
yeah.
say who that is. It's not Constantine, but I won't say who it is.
We
But
know.
I think that this particular person is in it more for the right reasons than the one I really don't support at all.
Yeah,
New Jersey. I'll leave it at that. So I don't want to, I'm not trying to cause any drama. In fact, I hope someday, I think we all did, that everybody would just come together, and because in the police department, you have that back the blue, and I'm not going to get into politics of all that, but it's about having your brother or your sister's back. And
uh
in this community, I think we all should have everybody's back, even um, if it's somebody that maybe somebody doesn't like, but they really got a raw deal. Um, Thank you, Dream. I appreciate that. Thank you. I was hoping to get on WGW. I appreciate that. Whatever the hell it happens again, I'll see you up there. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. But I lost my train of thought again.
it's all good, man.
Uh,
You're talking about the community come together, like Back to Blue, the police
yeah,
officers they come together.
because I mean, what I mean, people's been arrested. Like Musa got arrested for catching up. It's
Yeah,
like what? And so, like for instance, I don't want to say names. I'm not going to say names, but say there's somebody that many of us don't really particularly enjoy, but that person really did get the raw end of the deal by doing the right thing. Whether they were in it for the right, does that make sense? I think
I got
maybe
you.
like we should
They
have a
got the
little,
wrong. They got the bad end of the stick.
yeah, and we need to be humans. We all have a soul. We all have a heart, and I'm not trying to be preachy, but even God says, "Love thy neighbor." Love your enemies and those that persecute you, the Bible says. So I'll just leave it at that. But I think there are times that, God forbid, something may happen or has happened or whatever, that we need the community to come together to help. Does that make sense?
It
I hope
makes
it.
perfect sense, man. There's things that are more important than our personal beefs, our personal issues. There's things in life that are more important than that. I understand where you're coming from. So, man, I appreciate you for coming on.
I
Um,
appreciate you having me.
no problem, man. I don't want to keep you on too much. I know you probably got other things you got to do. Like I said, I'll talk to you later on. But
Okay.
hopefully, we'll have you down the road for a part two. You see what you've done as far as your predator catching and stuff like that, and get you back on, man.
Also, I appreciate it. Yeah. I Yeah, there may be a possibility for a part two in the future, only because there's things I cannot say without permission.
Okay.
Uh, and it's their story to tell as well, but that might be something down the road we'll talk about. I'll just leave it
Okay.
at that.
That's
Yeah.
fine. That's
So I
completely
appreciate
fine. I
it. Thank
understand.
you, chat. Thank you
So
for all your support.
no problem, man. I'm gonna let you go. Um, like I said, have a good night, and I'll.
Oh, uh-oh. I think he hit the wrong button there. I'll wait till he comes back on. Here he comes.
Yeah,
I've done that before.
I accidentally hit the wrong button.
Yeah, I've done that before.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Some people are saying it's one of my best. I appreciate all the love and support. It's awesome. I love you guys. Let me see. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Levi. Thank you, Ryan, for showing your support, brother. Thank you, Cupcake. Constantine, as always, brother. Jesus, looking cute, Jesus. Um. Anyways, yes, he did a great job. So, thank you guys once again. No, thank you, brother. I will see you guys on Monday. Do my normal Monday motivational video, whatnot. But you guys have a good weekend and later.